On your left.
Hey, my more brothers, back again, and I wanted to do a quick one. It's kind of early in the morning here on the Pacific Coast, and I was talking to Edward last night. There was something he said like a couple of days ago while doing his driver's ed. He was talking about what was going on with the women in kind of coming to this space. And I know why the content creators get mad, because they're raking off money or funds for donations that could go to them. So it's understandable, because it's really not about views, it's about money. Because we know what guys that are thirsty will get over there and do, especially if they hear a woman speaking kind words to their ear. And I think that's what's really been going on about the women over here, right? Because black men, especially in America, get so few kind words from women that they're thirsty. It's like being in the desert and wanting cool water, or hell, like ice water. Because, women are so mean to black men in this country that just to hear a black woman speak kind words is like, it's like having a water cooler in the middle of the desert, and guys flock to it, and, they're willing to spend money on it, because it is kind of rare. And that's what Edward was saying. Edward was saying is that most black men in America, and a lot of guys in this space, are looking for a woman to submit to. Because we talk about male submission all the time, right? That we want a woman that will submit to us and follow our program and get on our program and do what we're trying to do, follow our direction. And most times not, because really, for the most part, black men have not been trained to think for themselves. They're really not. They really haven't. Black men have been trained to do what mama tells them to do. They train the girls to think for themselves. They train the girls to push back. They train the girls to stand up for themselves. In fact, the girls, especially in the black community, are applauded for talking back, applauded for standing up to themselves, applauded for speaking out. Black men are pretty much shamed for doing that. Black men speak out, man. Black men speak their mind. They're shamed for it, even in this space, even in this community. Why do you think the women go at us so hard? It's not because we're really speaking that mean about them. It's because we're speaking up for ourselves. And that is against the gynocracy. Gynocracy does not like to be shamed or spoken to other than with kind words and submission. And I think I did a video a while back, maybe a couple years ago, really more than a while back, about black women wanting male submission. If you look at the politics in America nowadays, right? BLM, you look at the vice president, you look at the women in Congress, you look at the 2020 election, when black women are telling black men what to do. You look at the programs for boys. In fact, I'm going to do a video on that. There's a website, a Facebook post, where you have a group of women that want to reform manhood in submission to women. So it's not one of those things that we're making things up. We're not. Because you get women coming over into this space, trying to invade this space, trying to shame us into silence, trying to mommy us. They come right in the middle of black men and try to mommy us. But that is not the issue. Of course, they're going to try to come in and mommy you and cow you down and use sign language. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. Sign language to beat you back down, beat you back into the gynocracy. That to beat you back into submission where you belong, right? But on the other end, you see so many guys, and I've heard it. We talk about, when we're talking about SYSBM and getting away from black women, or even traveling outside of the United States, black men are looking for black women to submit themselves to. They're looking for a kind master, a woman that will treat them fairly when they offer their submission, will go along like nice little concuserves. I'll rub your feet. I'll cook your dinner. I'll make sweet love to you. I'll listen to your problems. I'll try to comfort you when you have a hard day. That is submission. And for the price of allowing her to be in your presence, allowing you to be in her presence, and a place for your submission to go. That is the reason why we have that thumbnail, a thumbnail of the minions, because that's what black men really are. If you think about it, especially the ones that sit on the fence looking for a master to submit to. So we got black men running around wanting to be red pill, but actually in their heart, they know that they're minions. And as soon as a woman comes into the space speaking kind words, it's going to be a kind master. They all run over there offering their submission. They're bowing down. All she's got to do is the minimum. Because really all black men are asking black women to do for the most part is be nice. Don't be a cruel master. Now, what more do you want me to do? I go to work, I come home, I bring home the pay. I want to do more around the house. That's submission. And when I did the reaction to the 92 octane, that's what she was asking for. She was asking for male submission. Cater to my world. Because that's what black women aren't going to do. Black women aren't going to cater to your world, right? That's how come, for the most part, black women of the gynocracies actually try to train weak men. They do. And I've noticed that when which is probably why, I've always had issues, especially, even though I love them, I have issues with black women. And the issues I had that I wouldn't submit. I wasn't mean to them, I wasn't cruel to them, because I wouldn't submit. Probably one of the issues I had with my mother, we had angst, just because I wouldn't submit. I wasn't mean to her. I wasn't openly defiant. Just, I'm not going to submit. If it doesn't make sense to me, I'm not going to do it. Which is something women could never figure out about me. He's not openly defying me. He's not openly mean to me. He's just not going to go along with everything that I say. He doesn't submit, and I never did. Most guys submit, whether they entertain, whether they listen to women's problems. That's where the power struggle comes in. She's trying to wield power over you. And your internal programming is allowing her to wield power over you. And since I'm a Sigma, the older I got, the more indifferent I got to it. So instead of fighting her over control, I just tell women I prefer not to. I ain't got to do it. I don't have to cater to you. I don't have to make the plans and fly you out. If I want to do that, that's where I'm going, and I want to make a trip, I want to see something, and you want to tag along with me, you can. I'm not planning a trip for you. I'm planning a trip for me, and you're my company. And a lot of times you go on a trip with a woman, most of the women I went on trips with, it's like, I'm like a tour guide. I have to keep you entertained. And after a while, I got tired of that. So, I might as well go by myself. I have a better time by myself. I do. I have a better time by myself than taking somebody with me, because I don't have to worry about keeping them entertained. My children, that was different. The children, they can't do anything without you. So yeah, if you're actually doing something for them, you're finding them places to eat. You got to feed them. You got to keep them entertained. You got to make it fun for them, because that's why you're taking them. You're doing something for them. But if I decide to do something for the woman, then I'm going to take her somewhere and travel with her or something like that, then yeah, okay, I'm entertaining you. But a lot of guys, and I'm not shitting on guys, I'm not shitting on black men. It's just been embedded in you to serve. You're brought here to serve. You're bred to serve. That's the way the system was set, and all black women did was keep the line going. They didn't change the settings in the factory. All they did was transfer ownership. That's how come, in black families, it's the mother that transfer ownership of the son to another woman. It's like when a black woman gets to know you and wants to get to know you, she thinks she's serious about you. She's trying to meet your mother. First thing they want to do is come over to your house and meet your mother. Just waltz right in and start and want to get to know who your mother is. Uninvited. I noticed that with my mother and my grandmother and the guy they were with. If the guy got out of pocket, the first call wasn't to the father. First call was to the mother to get him back in line. And we've been so well trained that guess what? We've fallen into that. So when we get to the point where we're independent, and that's what the black male space is about, is independence, we don't know what to do with it. So as soon as we hear a soft female voice, we want to run back into submission. And I understood it, but it took Edward to actually vocalize it. Because I always thought black men were fighting against submission to a woman. And it made me realize there's a lot of guys actively seeking it, because they get out here in this manosphere wilderness and they don't have a woman to submit to. And it seems so unnatural to them because they've been doing it all their lives. The mama taught them, the women around them have taught them, the school system has taught them, media has taught them. And some women do it harshly and some women do it well. Look at the Cosby Show. We want a woman like Mrs. Cosby. Why? Because Cliff submitted to her with thinking she was a kind master. She had a soft voice. She did it with grace. And that's what we yearn for. And we think we're cruel when we don't submit to them. We actually ask for submission. We're actually afraid of it because we're afraid of something that we've never done or something that we've never seen. Female submission. That's how come very few men actually look for other races of women, because we get female submission and we freak out. We have no idea what to do with them. Because guess what? We haven't been trained from little boys, like most cultures, to seek and adapt and use female submission. We haven't been. And it's not a fault of men per se. It's a fault of our culture. But it's a fault of us not understanding it. That's what the whole game is for, trying to acquire a woman. Not acquire a woman, actually find a way to actually please her and submit to her, and then brag about how we submitted to her. And at some point, we're going to have to understand ourselves. At some point, we're going to have to look at that. At some point, we're going to have to dig inside ourselves and actually rewrite or bypass that simp chip that we have in our brain. And I think that's what the manosphere is really about. That's what really scares black women. That a lot of guys going to figure out that simp chip is there and rewire it. In fact, I was watching Halo and Master Chief. He touched an artifact and he had a glitch in his brain and his hardware. And the control programming, the control chip that's in his brain got rewired so he could actually think independently. And I think that's what's going to happen to us. The same thing happened with Neo when he came out of the Matrix. He was actually able to think independently. And that's scary to a lot of men because that's so out of touch with what they know, with their experience that they grew up with. That's why female submission is so foreign to them. They don't even know what to ask for. They don't even know how to accept it when it comes. So, I just wanted to explore that a little bit. I may explore it in other videos, but for right now, I just wanted to get that thought off while it was still fresh in my mind, because it was so significant when he said it. As soon as he said it, I said, that's it. So shout out to Edward, driver's ed. And I don't think Edward knew what he said when he said it. It just came out. But as soon as he said it, it just rang in my ear. That's the problem in the black manosphere. That's the problem with women coming into the manosphere. It's that guys will immediately run over to a woman's channel and offer their submission. And black women kind of low-key know that. No matter how red pill we are, no matter how big the fire-breathing dragon that we become, at the end of the day, that simp chip is still there and is still looking to submit to a female. Anyhow, that's all I got for this one. It's BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.